Welcome to Research Skills. This is Dr. Ali Muqaibel, and we're doing the first part, the introduction to research skills. Here's the outline. We will start with a brief idea about the course. Then we're going to go into the introduction and motivation. Why would somebody join a research skills course? What is research to start with? What's the definition of research? When do we call it research? What are the different types of research? Then I will summarize the course objectives. We'll go into available some research opportunities, local and international, especially for undergraduate researchers. And then we'll go into course material. And finally, we'll go into the grading policy, and we'll have to conclude with some discussion. Okay, so here is some notes about the resources of the course. What you see here is a picture of my personal website with some details about the research skills resources. So if you want more resources, please visit my personal website. The current link is shown here. Otherwise, you can search for Muqaibel, M-U-Q-A-I-B-E-L, and you can go into research skills. Resources include YouTube videos. You can visit my YouTube channel. It contains most of the content in the form of video. You can also download all the slides if you are interested in PDF, and some additional related links and files. Please feel free to share and comment on my YouTube channel. And please leave your comments there, and I'll try to answer all of them. The expected duration for finishing this course would be, usually we give this like a short course or a workshop that takes about 10 hours maximum, and it's distributed over 4 days. But the format of presentation is up to you. For credits, for those who are taking this research skills experience for credit or for certification, there is usually associated exams, quizzes, assignments to make sure that you qualify for the certification or for the credit if this is a full course. All presented skills should be applied to research experience. This module of the course is about some different research skills. Usually in our full course format, all what we say in terms of presentation skills, writing, proposal structure, literature review should be applied to a certain experience. For example, if somebody is doing optical light localization or whatever field you are doing, whatever we say should be applied to that experience. So we have research experience and research skills. What you're going to see in the video is basically the research skills. And you need to go through an experience where you apply these research skills. Now, let's start by a quick introduction and motivation. The skills that students acquire during their academic year play an important role in their future success. So it's not just the technical content. You need additional skills like research skills. I think this is well accepted. Now, there is a growing adoption of undergraduate research. So the issue of having research just for graduate students is not true anymore. Most of the universities worldwide, they're going into adopting undergraduate research. And this shows you the importance of the skills. Though the material I'm going to cover is valid for undergraduate or graduate students. For our case at King Fahd University of Petroleum and Minerals, King Fahd University of Petroleum and Minerals, KFUPM, there is very specific interest by the administration to make sure that our students get the continuous life learning skills, including the research skills. Now, why would you as an audience seek research skills? So there are different types of research, undergraduate research skills experience or research experience. You can do it locally, and there are some advantages you gain, and there are also opportunities for doing research internationally. So let me start with what are you going to gain? It must be clear to you why would you take the effort and look, go over all the videos or attend a workshop about research skills? For the local experience, specifically, you get better knowledge, you get something to include in your resume, having specific and additional research skills over the average students, lead to senior project topics, master thesis. Usually this experience that you gain will help you to expand on them, and it even can be a PhD thesis. Very important, you will be able to find your passion. We have many of the excellent students, they don't know exactly, should I go for the industry or industrial research or just local industry or go for academia. So he's not sure. So this course should give you an idea about your passion, whether you are fit to continue with research. It doesn't have to be academia, by the way. There is industrial research, as we're going to see. But it will give you an idea whether you are fit for research or not. Get applications and solid records. If you get your experience and you are able to publish, that will give you very solid records for your PhD admission. Now, one very important thing, if this is a full course, you are also going to get credit, and that will make you progress towards your graduation. Now, for the international experience, in addition to all these previous things we mentioned here, there are additional advantages. It gives you exposure to different culture and school, and also very important, it will make you ready to be accepted by the institution where you do research. So you will have a chance to prove yourself for higher study admission. If you are sure where you want to go, then it's a very good idea to apply for undergraduate or graduate research or summer research internship at that institution. Now, having answered the question, why would you join a research skills workshop or course? Let's make it clear. What is research to start with? Of course, you're not going to find just one definition, but here is one that I like. Research requires engagement in the creation of new knowledge. Because you could be in a project experience, see a project, but that's not called research. So when do we call it research? In general, if it has some new knowledge, creation of new knowledge, or even understanding of existing data. So the system or data could be existing, but the understanding and the methodology could be new. So the word new is usually key critical word for defining research. Okay, of course we could have new to different degrees, totally new or relatively new or incrementally new. Now we can classify research into two parts. Basic research, and that includes theoretical. This includes theoretical or experimental work geared towards understanding and building upon existing knowledge. The other type is what we call applied research. So theoretical again or experimental work, but this is now focused on solving practical problems and creating new technologies. I'll give an example for the basic research. Somebody is developing a technique for solving certain type of nonlinear equations and to find the output variable, or solving differential equation or integral. Okay, this is a kind of basic research, even if he is not geared towards a specific application. But we also have applied research. Somebody is developing a solution for the overheated cars in Saudi Arabia, for example, because of the very high temperature. So you are trying to solve a practical problem. All right, so this is the first classification of research: basic research versus applied research. Sometimes, of course, it's not very easy to classify your research. It has this and that, but usually, if you want to apply for fund, they would ask you whether you're doing basic research or applied research. Now, we also can classify research into academic research or industrial research. Again, this is not black and white. There could be some overlap, industry work with the academia. But this is some keywords I try to help us look at the difference. In academia, knowledge by itself is valued. Industry would tell you what is the information that is there, so they are related, but knowledge in general by itself is valued in the academia. In the academia, you would like to get some publications, patents, while in the industry, you would be focused on products. So what is the final product in terms of, equipment or devices or so. In academia, you would talk about grants versus sales in the industry. Improved life, your objective, your research should end up into improving life, while in the industry, people will talk about how much is our market share. Did we increase the market share or not? In the academia, you would be developing your research, coming up with new research, while in the industry, your performance metric could be how much profit you are making. Once again, those things are just rough. They want just to give you an idea about research is not just about academia. You can still go to work in the industry and then work for a research center, for example. Google and other big companies, they are very well known for their research centers, AT&T and what have you. Now, when it comes to approach, the way we conduct research, we can classify research into theoretical, where we are developing new theories and equations, or you could be doing analytical research, where you use existing mathematical equations and methods. Experimental, where you are developing experiments to set up a new acquisition or acquire new data. Numerical, where you are going to, for example, to solve or test different cases by means of numerical coding or simulation. Let's take the example of the coronavirus now and the spread of coronavirus. Theoretical, you might be developing models for the pandemic spread, for the virus spread, and there are certain parameters, equations that govern the spread. Now, analytical, you could be using existing models and apply them to a certain virus, for example, or a certain disease, and you are looking at the results, peaks, minimum, maximum, and then use the existing models to come up with certain new conclusions. For example, you can have an estimate of the peak, when is it going to go down, is it going to have another wave or not? And then experimental, for example, you could be developing a new technique for finding the antibodies for the virus or so. Now, for the case of numerical, you could be using, for example, machine learning techniques or some programming techniques to match let's say, the symptoms of the virus or disease with different existing medicines and then make some proposals. This is just rough examples, but it's very important to know where you belong when you have research in terms of, is it theoretical, analytical, experimental, or numerical? Every one of them has its own advantage. Sometimes we have to mix more than one and compare to verify the results. Now, this is an important question. We have defined research. Now we ask the question, what makes a research experience? If you're joining an experience and you want to make sure, is it a research or not, research-oriented or not? When we develop your experience, we want to make sure to distinguish this experience from, let's say, regular senior projects or projects that you do in other courses, like the graduation project or capstone projects. So there are certain skills we want to make sure that they are embedded. Lecture review, you should be able to read what was done before, and of course we'll spend more time on this. How to do the lecture review, what types of review you have to do. And then reading, you have to understand the difference between the research outlet, conferences, journals, and you should be able to read there. It's not just about books. You need to know the scholarly outcomes and how to read them. Understand the scientific publication terms, like the review process, editors, and then revisions and reviewers, principal investigators, and so on. Research methodologies. Okay, you should have a clear methodology when you do your work, statistical, theoretical, experimental, or simulation. You should throughout the experience, come up with the new results. I mean, in theory, in principle, generate results and critically compare them and even analyze them, suggest percentage of error sources, and make a real scientific analysis of results. Now, when it comes to the course objectives, I'm listing here the course objectives and the learning outcomes. So to familiarize the students with concept of research and its components, to discuss different research methodologies, to understand the structure of technical proposal. You should be able to write a proposal, and we'll come to that where you write the problem statement, deliverables, and so you should be able to request fund through writing proposals. You should be able to critically evaluate the findings in a scientific way and make conclusions. And those, of course, these are the main objectives. Once you come to the results, you should be able to write and present your work. Those objectives are associated with learning outcomes. I'm listing them here. If you're interested, you can pause the video and read them, but they are somehow related to the course objective. Identify the main contributions, be able to do literature review, identify the appropriate research methodology, and critically compare and analyze them. You should be able, of course, to disseminate your research through journals, magazines, conferences, standards, and the things that we're going to cover, inshallah. Okay. Now, available research opportunities. This is very important to me because I really want you to get excited about what's going on there. Now, I will list here a few research opportunities available. The first one is by King Abdullah University of Science and Technology. They are visiting student research internship program. I'm giving you the link. I'm just giving you an idea. It's very fantastic program where you get support and you get covered and you just do research during the summer or more. There is a program for Saudis and for non-Saudis, different programs. You can go to their website and read. Abu Dhabi University, an example where they have undergraduate research competition, a yearly competition. I'm sharing with you the link. There is monetary reward. And also we have United Arab Emirates University where they have summer undergraduate research experience. This is usually called SURE, S-U-R-E, for short for summer undergraduate research experience. This term was coined, I think, in Georgia Tech. And also we have, for example, we have the IEEE MIT Undergraduate Research Technology Conference. This is a conference that's organized by MIT, and it's a yearly conference. So being undergraduate students, for example, or just fresh graduate students does not limit you from going to these opportunities. In fact, winning on these will really give a good add to your resume. So these are just examples, and I'm sure there are many, many more than these. But these are around us. Now, of course, since we are in KFUPM, KFUPM is doing great research opportunities, and they're giving you good chances. So these are some of the programs that's done at King Fahd University. The first one here, there is undergraduate conference attendance support. So once you get your paper accepted in a very respected conference, of course with some there is some guidelines and conditions. If these are met, the university are going to support you to attend international or regional conferences, and this is a very good chance for you to have a good experience and have a different cultural experience. The university also adopted the summer undergraduate research experience, and it's expected to start soon. And this is really an attractive program where you get also support and you get to work during the summer. Undergraduate research fund, if you have ideas and you want to get fund, if your ideas are smart and you require some fund to do them, through the Deanship of Research, there is a program for the fund. Currently, it's under the Deanship of Research, but it could move to the Undergraduate Research Office. The university have a dedicated office for undergraduate research. The third item in the list, or fourth, we have research skills workshop, like this one, which is offered in the university. We have undergraduate research courses. So in almost every department currently we have a course called undergraduate research, and usually it's numbered 497. KFUPM Students Scientific Forum. Every year the university does a competition in parallel with the Senior Project Expo, where you do a forum for students to present their work. And usually undergraduate or graduate students, they compete in a different tracks. separate tracks so that we give a chance and encourage more the undergraduate students, and you usually are getting very good rewards. This is done, we are already on number 11, so the coming one, it's going 12 and so on. So it has been there for about 12 times. Now, here's just an example. I'm just showing you the table that there will be a date for, there'll be announcement and date for the submission, and then paper submission, usually it's an IEEE format, and then there is an acceptance notification, and then finally there is a forum and presentation at the end of the semester where you get a ceremony, and then there is a award. So our university has lots of resources also that you want to consider. Now, when it comes to local and regional conferences, I just got this from the local IEEE Saudi Arabia section. Of course, I am going for IEEE because we are coming from electrical engineering background, but for whatever field you're doing, there is lots of specialized societies in Saudi Arabia and other countries, of course. But this is just to give you an example of what's going around you. IEEE GCC, GCC stands for Gulf Cooperation Countries, and then or Gulf Council countries. And then we have the Saudi Computer Society. We have the IEEE energy sections and robotics. So there are lots of resources that I advise you to search for and make sure that you present before you graduate. The course material that we're covering, I mentioned before, we have different research methods. We have two main things here in this course. We have the research methods where we talk about the literature review, how to conduct, how to write proposals. So for this, I'm referring to different textbooks related to research and research journal articles, some specialized on training, guidebooks, but I will just share with you the bulk of the material, so you don't have to worry. I will share with you some references, but the workshop or the course will be self-contained. What's very important is that we're not just doing research skills. What is really we're doing is the research experience. So this is just like introduction. I want you to apply this to the research experience. So if, for example, we are developing, let's say, localization based on light, optical light, or if we're doing any other research related to wireless communication, for example, 5G or 6G, specific problem, it's usually very specific. So we want to apply this to our specific problem. So we'll write a proposal on that specific problem. We'll move on, develop, write literature review. By the end of the course, we should have our paper. Usually we join these two, or we add to them site visits. And this is usually we go to academic research center like our research institute at King Fahd University, or we go to industrial research. We go sometimes to Dhahran Techno Valley or Saudi Aramco or other research centers. Okay, so make sure that you just don't think that what we are doing is just research methods. We really want you to have your own research hours and your lab in a desk. If you are joining a lab, make sure that you have a table and you are being treated as a full-time researcher. Now, here is I'm listing some references, specific references about the undergraduate research handbook, how to research a project, practical research planning and design, the craft of research, and then research design, quantitative, qualitative, quantitative, and mixed methods approaches. Of course, you can freeze the video, and if you're interested to go to these references, I'm just going to proceed. But as I mentioned, these are just sample references. You can have your own. Now, this is an important slide where we give you the breakdown of the course. What are you going to go to learn? Again, this is the research skills. Everything we learn here will be applied to our research experience. Introduction, motivation. By the way, I'm dividing this into 4 modules. Okay, because usually in a short course we give this in a 4 days short course. The research method part. We have introduction, motivation. What is research? Types of research. We have covered this. Then we'll go into selecting a research topic, scholarly outcomes, databases, and social networks, research ethics. Then we go into, these are kind of preparing. Then we go into how to read a scientific paper, proposal structure and research methods, literature review, Then we go into the third module. Here we build our technical background. Then we go into writing the research proposal and literature review. Sometimes we join research proposal with the literature review because usually part of the proposal is to show that you have covered and you know what's going on. Then we'll go into papers, posters, and presentation. We'll also learn some time management and research management skills like the Pomodoro technique. Of course, we'll conclude with having you to present your work. And if this is a accredited course, we can have multiple choice questions to make sure that you absorb the idea. Now, tentative grading policy. This is a very dynamic. I just want to give you an idea that if this is an accredited course where you get some grades and, or certificate or pass or fail, then usually we divide the grades over the components. This is just a generic, so this is not applied to you. You get an outside handout where it shows you the details. But just to tell you that you need to write a proposal, there might be some progress reports, and then we have literature review. Usually we have, you are expected to produce some results, and this is like the 1/3 of the course where you have a literature review and proposal, another 2/3 of the course where we write some preliminary results or reproduction of results, and then finally we have our major thing. So the course should lead to a final well-written paper. Of course, we have to be realistic based on the time. It could be something new or some incremental work. So the paper shall bring new ideas. Through our journey, everything we're going to do is going to serve this purpose, which is coming up with the final paper. So we'll try to write our original proposal and literature review. So it's going to be a natural development where we end up with our paper. The paper must be submitted, of course, in the best scenario to a conference and journal because we'd like you to learn how to go through the submission process, especially if this is a full course. Now, as I said, your specific details about grading will come from an external handout. But if you are here just to learn, if you're watching the videos, you can just proceed. Okay, I might be able also to provide you with some MCQ questions to evaluate yourself. Okay, before we conclude, usually in the first lecture or the first meeting, I give a questionnaire, and the link to the questionnaire is available to my website. If you go to our research, if you search for Muqaibel and then research skills, you'll find that you have a questionnaire there. These are some questions. These are some questions there. What is research? I'm trying to get your basic background about research in few words. What's the difference between a conference paper and a journal paper? Again, this is just to know how much you know about research. You can just say, I don't know if you don't know. And then we have, are you planning to continue your PhD or your graduate program or not? Yes or no? And then I want you to tell me, I want you to list what you want to learn from the course. If you are just joining the video, please write down in the comment section, what are you expecting from this course and what is missing and you want me to work it out and maybe add to our research skills. Before I conclude, please make sure that you share this with your friends, especially for graduate students, fresh graduate students or undergraduate. And I think that this will make them learn in the short way instead of learning by trial and error. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching the video, and please join me in the coming videos. I appreciate being here.